A White House senior advisor who's Catholic says President Trump feels very strongly about helping the pro-life community, and we can expect more action from him in 2018. White House correspondent Mark Irons brings us his one-on-one interview covering everything from immigration reform to the president's unconventional tweets.
Thank you for joining me, President's Senior Advisor for Strategic Communications, Mercedes Schlapp. I want to ask you, the President has a lot of critics when it comes to his communication style, say with his use of Twitter. As his Senior Advisor, what kind of advice are you giving the President on getting his message out there?
Well, the President has to be the President, and that is one thing. He likes to be transparent and direct to the American people. He's a fighter. It's what he's done. One
big concern for Catholics are pro-life issues. Looking back at 2017, the President appointed conservative justices. He reinstated the Mexico City policy. What pro-life actions are we looking for the President to take in 2018?
Well, clearly the President feels very strongly in helping the pro-life community, as we saw in his Supreme Court Justice pick Neil Gorsuch, as well as picking over 12 and confirming circuit court judges, which is actually a record high of any presidential administration. So clearly what we've seen this year has been a lot of action. We'll see more next year. I think the key is we've seen him reinstate the Mexico City policy and dramatically expand it. And also with the judges, the conservative judges, that is critical in helping to shift and move away from judicial activism, which we know has been detrimental to our country.
You're a Cuban American. You may know the struggles of immigrant families well. What advice are you giving the President when it comes to the Dreamers?
Well, I think as the President said in terms of DACA, that these are he's about being compassionate. At the same time, we need to ensure that we have an immigration system that works, and that will require border security and interior enforcement. It is important to close the loopholes. We have these cases where there's backlogs, where judges aren't able to process immigration cases, and our border patrols don't have enough resources to process what's happening in the border. So there are these stark realities. Let's do immigration in a way where you allow for legal immigrants to come in the right way and not continue to advocate for illegal immigration that, as we know, is detrimental to our national security.
The President just got a big win on tax reform. When he returns to the White House after the break, what's the first thing he's going to work on?
Well, clearly the President will be working with Congress. I think one of the bigger issues that they're going to be dealing with is ensuring that we continue on this strong economic growth to ensure that we have job creation in our country. So there are three buckets to that. One is tax cuts. The other one is deregulation. We've already seen the President take action in those two areas. The third bucket is infrastructure. That's one of the areas where both Democrats and Republicans can find common ground. We're going to have state and local governments involved and being incentivized, that we are able to reinvest in our infrastructure and also invest in our resources, the most valuable resource, that being the American people.
As a Catholic working in the White House, how does your faith inspire your work?
I'm very blessed and honored to work for President Trump, and I feel very much that prayer is a very important part of my life. Every day I walk in, I pray for wisdom and guidance in what I do every day in serving this President and, more importantly, serving the American people.
The President's Senior Advisor for Strategic Communications, Mercedes Schlapp, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.